What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Roads We've Traveled podcast, episode 22. My name is AJ Pelletier, and thank you again for tuning in, as always, and subscribing and all that great stuff. You know, I love you for it. You're probably wondering why I'm wearing the same shirt from last episode. It's because I'm recording 2 episodes today. So my guest today is Jessie Ritner-Skillings. Jessie, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Jessie is a writer, photographer, and also a podcast host. So we're gonna dip into that in a little bit. But how are you doing? And how's John doing?
Oh, John's good. He's actually at band practice right now. So he's great.
For those of you that don't know, this is John Hanson's fiance. John was a former guest on the show from Fear of the Masses. So you should go back and listen to that episode if you haven't listened to it already. So he's at band practice right now.
Yeah, he is. So cool. I'm sure he's enjoying himself.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. He loves that band so much. So
he loves playing. Yeah, for sure.
If you guys have not checked out Fear of the Masses, you guys need to check them out. You got to download Tipping Point. I cranked that all the way to the grocery store today, and people were looking at me strange. So I don't care.
I think the best thing is doing that with kids in the car, because my 3 kids are like rocking out to Fear the Masses, and I'm like, oh well.
There you go. Whatever works. So are you still working right now during all this craziness?
So sort of. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so okay. I'm always working. And my kids are doing distance learning. So I'm home with them doing schoolwork during the day and all that. But I mean, I did a lot of band photography before this happened. So not so much with that.
Yeah.
And the podcast that I do with the entertainment and stuff, we took like the summer off because I mean, so many people listen to audio podcasts on their way to work and everything. So we were like, you know what, let's just give ourselves the break. So
I hear you. I'm like ready for a break myself too. And I still got, 6 or 7 more people to interview. So that
I know. I saw a bunch of people jump at the chance. So that's awesome.
Man. Yeah, no, it's really good. And I love all the guests that I'm getting for the show and everything. It's just like, you know, when you do it all yourself, you know, and then you see all the promotion I do for it between video editing and audio editing, and then After Effects editing with the little sample videos the day before the episode drop. Like that takes time. And if people watching at home, you should support the show. Buy some merch, okay? Like, I'll plug it again at the end of the show because this shit ain't free. I do it out of love, though. But yeah, no, I hear you. Like, I think after this round of guests, I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a break for myself because it's just 2 jobs and streaming and the podcast. It's a lot for me to, you know what I mean? I mean, like, I'm not going anywhere right now on top of it because of the pandemic, you know what I mean? And I'm not going out to bars or anything like that or going to shows, which sucks. But, you know, like, it is what it is. But I mean, like, it helps with my creativity, obviously, but, you know, too much is too much. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice because you have the extra time, but like, we're not recharging ourselves going out and socializing, and I miss that.
The only socializing I got was literally like 2 nights ago. My friends Scotty and Jeannie from Cross and Rubicon came over. Scott helped me put this beast of a elliptical together.
Oh, nice.
So,
yeah, they're great. I love them. They're really sweet.
Yeah, we used to do a podcast together called the League of Extraordinary Frontmen years ago. So, spoiler alert, I'm recording this on September 6th, so the rewind episode for episode 3 is dropping tomorrow. So
I saw that. I'm definitely gonna check that out.
It was a fun podcast. I mean, like, for those that don't know what the podcast is about, it's basically myself, Scott, our friend Kevin Freer, formerly of Demons Pass, and our friend Martin, aka Agrippa from Agrippa 93, and we just all sat down and basically what you do for your podcast. We talked about nerd stuff. Like, we watched, you know, we talked about comic books, we talked about movies. You know, we had like a question every week that we would ask and discuss thoroughly, or if there was a movie that dropped, we would review it and talk about what we liked about it, what we didn't like. And then we had like show and tell, which was fun. Like, we would Facebook live stream it, like every week we'd show something off. So yeah, like, you can't tell because the camera's facing this way at me, but like the wall over here has like Batman the Animated Series action figures all along the wall, and then you can see in the corner I got a fucking bat wing over there, but I got a Batmobile too. It's down there a little bit, but yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, my living room screams Virgin, so
sadly mine does too. So we're a bunch of nerds in this house for sure.
Yes.
So. Well, John, not so much. He's more music nerd.
Yes.
But
yeah. Nothing wrong with that. No. But anyway, we're getting off topic here. But yeah. So yeah, I hear you about work, man. Like I know a lot of people have been struggling right now with work and everything. But I mean, at home mom is a whole job in itself too. And you got what, 3 kids? Was it 2 or 3 kids?
Yeah. My son he actually just turned 11 yesterday. And then my stepdaughter turns 11 a week after him, and my stepson is 8, and they're here like 50-50. So it's pretty chaotic.
Yeah, it's gotta be busy at times. Yeah.
Keeps me busy.
Yeah, I don't have kids myself, but my sister has 2, and one's in high school and one is fourth grade, 5th grade, something like that. Yeah, I'm terrible at remembering.
When they're not yours, it's a little easier to forget.
Yeah,
so.
Well, his birthday is coming up this week, so I had to get him something. I'm like, what do you want for your birthday? Oh, I don't know, video game stuff. I'm like, you're being very vague. Like, I know you have an Xbox. What do you want? Like,
give me specifics, please.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I know you don't play the same games I do. You like sports, and I'm so not into sports games. So, but
yeah, I can't do those.
Yeah, I can't either. Like, I know there was a new NBA game that dropped, and I'm like, I don't even know if he has this, and I'm just like, I don't know. I know he's using one of my controllers right now, so I was like, let me just buy him a new controller and
just attach the gift receipt. That's what I do with my nephews. I'm like, here you go.
Kind of go to an Amazon. No, the funny thing is, it's like I live down the street from a GameStop, and I went there yesterday because I was like, I'm gonna go in there and buy a good wireless controller. I went in there. I'm like, hey, do you guys have any wireless Xbox One controllers? Because the Xbox is weird. They made like 2 different ones. I'm sorry to go off on a tangent here for a minute, but like, the first wave of Xbox One controllers had this like adapter at the bottom where you had to plug in this adapter in order to plug your headphones in. I'm like, I don't want that. You know what I mean? And my nephew didn't want that either. So I was like, do you have the ones that don't have that attachment to it? And they're like, yeah, we're sold out. And I'm like, how the fuck are you sold out? You're a fucking game store. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like people are rushing in here to really buy it. Well, maybe they are. I don't know. But I mean, and they're like, oh, the only decent ones we have are the Elite controllers. And I'm like, oh God, I know how much those are probably going to be. And I'm like, how much are they? They're like, oh, they're $180. I'm like, fuck that. I was like, I love my nephew, but not that much.
Not that much. Yeah.
No, but I love my nephew. So I went online and found a good controller and came in today, thankfully.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, why don't I just do this in the fucking first place? But anyway, all right. Off my tangent. I'm sorry. This pandemic's got me going crazy.
That's fine. We can go on to Switches and PlayStations. I mean, whatever.
I got all that. I got a Switch. I got a PS4. Fucking. I talked about.
So.
Yeah. You got Ring Fit Adventure at home?
No.
I do. That took a while to get my hands on that. Like price gouging everywhere for that game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I finally found it for a decent price, but like people are like selling it for like $200-$300. I'm like, fuck that.
Yikes.
Like, nah.
No
good.
thanks.
Nah. But anyway, yeah, let's get off this. This isn't about me. This is about you. All right. So, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in this tiny town that nobody has heard of in Massachusetts, called North Brookfield.
Okay.
It's like a half hour from Worcester. So, it's just quiet little town right near the lake, and my parents still live out there. So it was a nice place to grow up.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So you and John are both from Massachusetts.
Yeah. Our paths actually crossed a lot before we started dating, and we were at the same place at the same time. We had all the same friends, and we never like really met. So it's kind of crazy.
Isn't that crazy how that works out? Like people just come into your life out of nowhere, and like we were talking about this on the Chris episode too. I don't know if you listened to that.
I didn't yet. I want to.
Oh God, Chris has so much energy, and he's just so funny.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I got to meet him once.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy. Super crazy busy like I am too. But I mean, talking to him and my God, I'm losing my train of thought here. What were we fucking
with
talking
the paths crossing?
Yes,
And...
thank you. He was talking about how him and his fiance met, and they met through college, and like it was kind of like on off for a little while, and then they kind of went their separate ways, and he moved out to California, and they got back together, and then they were doing the long distance thing for a while, and then he ended up moving back, and now they're engaged. So
oh wow,
cool. Yeah, he was like, you never know, you know what I mean? He's like, people come into your life, and you're like, oh, that's the person I'm supposed to be with, and I'm like, yeah, I'm still waiting.
Well, you probably don't want to hear about my crazy relationship life then.
No, please.
I do a lot of like writing about step families, polyamory, and stuff like that, because I think it's really important to educate people. I've met a lot of people who, as soon as they hear polyamory, they either think cheating, or they automatically think I'm like a sister wife and Mormon, which is a completely separate thing.
Yeah.
So I do like a lot of writing about that.
But even with the not to get off on a tangent on Mormonism or whatever, but like that whole practice is like kind of frowned upon now in the Mormon religion, because like I listened to last podcast on the left, and they did like a 5-part series on Mormonism and like John Smith and everything, and they went into the whole subject too, and like how it is now, and they're like, yeah, we don't practice that anymore. Like but some of the OGs still do, and I'm like,
yes,
yeah. So but I'm not, I've never really like met anyone that was like polyamorous or anything like that, so I don't really know a whole lot about it. Maybe you can educate me a little bit on it.
It's basically, I mean, it's a type of open relationship.
Okay.
So it falls under open relationship, but not all open relationships are poly. So it basically, if you break down the roots of the word, it's like many loves. So it's, dating and caring about and fitting multiple people into your life. And I happen to be fortunate enough. Well, I mean, I guess some people might not view it as fortunate enough, depending on your level of chaos you want in your life. But I live with all 3 of my partners. And then they, date other people who don't live with us. So for me, it's just, like a bigger family. It's something I've been used to for a long time, probably about, 15 years now.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm 38, so it's
well,
been
you don't look
been
38.
a while. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, about 15 years. So
wow.
Yeah, I mean, everybody does it differently, and it's definitely not a one size fits all. And
yeah,
no,
I hear you. I mean, like I don't judge or anything like that. People love equally or whatever. You know what I mean? Like love is love. You know what I mean? Like, and whatever. I don't know. I mean, like for me, it's just like I've always just been devoted to just one person. You know what I mean? Like in every relationship I've been in, and I've never really. I don't know. It's just me. Like that's just who I am, and
Yeah, I think that's a really valid
I'm looking
choice.
for words here, and I just can't find them. Maybe it's just because I'm on my second interview today, but I don't know.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. It's just another way of looking at relationships. And, I always tell my son that like monogamy is a choice and polyamory is a choice, and you should just know all your choices.
Exactly. So. Well, that's cool though. So, so I mean, like, how many like do you spend like a couple days like with John, and then a couple days at another one of the other places, or is it just
I mean, well, with all of us living together, like everybody has their own rooms, and we all have like our own space. And well, I don't have my own space as much. Like I actually kind of set up an office in John's bedroom.
Okay.
Because that had a little bit of space for like a desk and my computer and stuff like that. So like if I need some quiet time away from the kids, I can come down here, and he'll be like, oh, I'll just go do something else and like let you chill. So
Gotcha.
but everybody has their own space, and the kids have their own rooms, and it just depends on what everybody's schedule is for the week, and who's home. My husband is in the Navy, so he actually just got back from a short, they call them underways. It wasn't like a deployment, but today. So he's been gone for a couple months. So it just, the schedule just changes. I mean, there's so many people in the house and we all have to kind of work around each other's and, oh, when's your girlfriend coming over? And when are you going to go see so-and-so? And so
that's
pretty
good.
open.
Cool.
Yeah.
And has there ever been like an issue of like jealousy or anything like that? Not to like dig, dirt up or anything like that.
Oh, sure.
Has there ever been like an issue like that?
Yeah. I mean, I think jealousy is a really natural emotion. And I think monogamous, polyamorous, there's nothing wrong with jealousy. I think what becomes bad about jealousy is how you handle it. So if you let it overtake your life and you just let it consume you and, you don't have communication with your partner and you're not talking to them about what the problem is or what's bothering you, just like in any relationship, it's not going to go well, So there's definitely been jealousy. And I mean, it's a continuing struggle for a lot of us. New situations arise, new people come into our lives, and it feels like sometimes you're back at square one. All over again. So even in, over a decade of this, I'm still like, oh man, I feel like I'm such a newbie at this some days. So it definitely happens.
I hear you. So you said this was happening for a decade. Did you discover this like 10 years ago that you were polyamorous, or was it just something that you just kind of like experimented with and liked or something, or?
I think back when I first realized, I probably didn't really have like a word for it. I was more the type of person, even in high school, that I was like, well, why can't I just date both of them? And like, we're all friends and it's cool. Like, so I've kind of always been that way.
Okay.
And just didn't have a word for it. So, my ex-husband and I were actually the ones who like started down the open relationship path, and
Gotcha.
It didn't work out for us for many, many reasons, but not just polyamory, but yeah.
Gotcha. So, growing up and, you're saying like you were kind of like always kind of like, why can't I date both people or whatever? Like, did you get like picked on a lot or like judged a lot for this kind of stuff, or?
I mean, I didn't express it very often.
Okay.
It's so frowned upon, and especially in high school, like,
people are terrible in high school, like, just in general.
I mean, people can be really judgmental, and I liked my high school experience. I actually was friends with a lot of the different groups, and I didn't have a bad high school experience. But I was already kind of an outcast. I was I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. So I was already kind of different from everybody else, and then to if I had expressed like some weird dating thing, I think I probably would have been thrown to the wolves, but I didn't really like express it much. It was more of a fleeting like, oh, why wouldn't it work like this kind of thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, it wasn't like that for me when I was in high school. I was definitely an outcast. I was a nobody, and like I had a few friends, but I got picked on and bullied a lot. So it's not fun.
I had a few people who really zoned in on me, and they are not happy people in their lives now. So I mean, I think when you're that miserable that you have to take it out on other people, like you're not going to grow up and be a happy person unless you fix it.
Yep, exactly. It's, and I had to do that myself too, to figure myself out. But I don't really talk to a lot of people from high school anymore. I just don't care. But
nothing wrong with that.
My 10-year reunion was years ago. I didn't go because I played a show that night. I was like, I went up on stage. I was like, I was supposed to go to my high school reunion today. I said, fuck that. I'm playing a show instead. Like,
the show's more fun anyway. Than reunions.
I'd rather hang out with you guys than people I don't care about. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you said you were a Jehovah's Witness. Obviously, do you practice? You don't practice anymore, obviously, right? Or do you still?
No, I don't. I have a lot of respect for it still, and some of my family is still in. So I try to be careful about how I speak about it and everything. I certainly didn't experience anything horrible in it, but it wasn't the best experience either. It was very restrictive, and I'm grateful for some of it, and the rest of it I'm kind of like, take what you like and leave the rest behind. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
I grew up Catholic myself too, like did the whole
Mhm.
Catholic thing. I don't practice anymore for obvious reasons, but um no, I still have family members that practice, and you know, I respect. I believe in, like, you know, uh the universe, like, you know, karma, stuff like that. Like,
Mhm.
I just, what goes around comes around kind of thing. And like, you
Yeah.
know, things happen for a reason. Do I believe in a higher power? Maybe. I don't know if, I don't necessarily think it's God or anything, but I mean, I'd like to think there's maybe an afterlife after this is all over, but I mean, who knows, you know?
That sounds pretty in line with, yeah, how I feel about it at this point. Like, I can't say either way, so let's just hope for the best.
Exactly. But I can't get behind the Catholic Church, especially with everything going on with the Catholic Church.
Yeah, a lot of religions. I mean, when you gather a bunch of people into one group, there's gonna be some bad apples
Yeah,
in all those
exactly.
groups.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I got an uncle that's a retired priest, and if he heard me talking about this, he'd have a few words, and I'd be like, "Dude, just shut up! Like, just shut up! I don't want to hear it." But anyway,
yeah.
so I mean, like, are things like good with your family, or were they like, did they, I don't know, were they harsh or judgmental when you stop practicing or your lifestyle
Um,
changes?
no, actually my mom's been pretty supportive.
Okay.
As supportive as she can be. I mean, I know there's things about my life she doesn't agree with.
Hmm.
But her biggest thing has always been, and I have to respect that about her, that as long as my son and now my stepkids, who she also loves very
Mm.
much, are safe and growing up happy, she doesn't care about the rest of it. So she comes over, she says hi to all my partners. You know, she's had me and John over for lunch. She'll come over and say hi to Kyle and Jason and hang out with everybody a little bit, and pick up my kiddos, take them for the weekend. Like, she's been awesome, especially compared to some Jehovah's Witness families,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, that's good though. That's
So
great.
yeah,
Like,
I'm really, really fortunate.
yeah, I was gonna say, you know, like that's really good that you have a supportive family like that. You know, not a lot of people do.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, so
definitely.
well, that's
My
awesome.
dad's amazing too. He just
Yeah.
wasn't a Jehovah's Witness. He grew up Catholic.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, yep. They both did. And then my mom converted.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Do you struggle from any sort of mental illness or anything like that, like depression, anxiety, or anything?
Yeah, I actually I try to do some writing about that here and there too. I got diagnosed with bipolar kind of late in life. Um and had a lot of problems with it throughout high school, looking back, you know, with a clear mind now.
Mm.
Um but we just didn't know what it was. I mean, I would have these horrible mood swings, I would have these anxiety attacks, I would have weeks of just not wanting to get out of bed, not wanting to go to school. And my mom was like, "Oh my God, like, what can I do for you?" And I was like, "I
Yeah.
don't know." You know. So I didn't get diagnosed till I was 30. So only 8 years ago, which is a really late diagnosis for
Mm.
bipolar.
Is it bipolar 1 or bipolar 2? Because Mike was explaining the differences to me on his episode, because he got diagnosed with bipolar 2, I think he said.
You know what? I always forget. I think it's one, because that's the one that's like the
You got like
quicker
your
change.
super highs and then your super lows. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I have more of a rapid cycling type of one. So, and
Gotcha.
that coupled with I got diagnosed with like PTSD around the same time. So that was super fun. Non-combat related. So I always try to talk about how it's not just, it is veterans, of course, and that's a very
Yeah.
important topic to me. But it's also other people too. So yeah, I struggle with those things still.
Do you talk to like therapists at all, or do you?
I do. Yeah, I've been seeing an awesome one out here since I moved to Connecticut a few years back, and she's amazing. And
Very cool.
yeah, yep, I'm pretty open about it. I mean, you and I are Facebook friends, so I'm sure you've seen like half my life in
Oh
the
yeah.
past, couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely. And
yep.
you know, thanks for reaching out and asking to be on the show. I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. I'd love to have you on the
Yeah,
show.
I
So,
wasn't sure. I was like, I can't play an instrument to save my
oh no,
life,
it's,
but
yeah, I know I've had like lots of musicians on the show already, but like I've also had my buddy who's a comedian. He came on.
yeah.
You know, I'm open to having artists and writers and like I just interviewed another photographer for episode 20. You know, so I'm open to all sorts of like creative, you know, outlets or whatever.
Awesome.
You know, so as long as somebody has something to plug at the end of the show. If not, it's just like awkward. But like, but no, yeah, absolutely. So well, we were talking about mental illness. Yeah, like I suffer from a bit of depression myself too. And I don't know if you listened to any of the previous episodes about like what happened in like 2018 and 2019 for me, but like it was just like super low for me, like constantly. Like I I was talking with my ex again. Like, it kind of felt like we were gonna get back together, and then she did like a 180 and started talking to a friend of mine. So I was like, okay, well, this is,
man.
yeah. I was like, yeah, and it was a good friend too. Like this dude was like a part of my charity show in 2018 that I put together, and then he's like, yeah, sorry, guy. And I'm like, you're sorry. Like, all right, well, at least you told me. You know what I mean? I kind of felt betrayed when she didn't tell me, but I was like, whatever. Like. So I moved, you know, that happened. My dad had a heart attack and didn't tell anybody. Like, in our
I don't think I heard about that part.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My relationship with my father isn't the greatest right now. It's very strained. You know, I love my father a lot, but like his lifestyle that he's been living, and I just can't, you know, deal with it anymore because, you know, you can, there's only so many times you can lead a horse to water. You know what I mean? And if it
Yeah.
doesn't want to drink, it's not going to drink. So, I mean, like if he texts me or calls me, like I'll talk to him, but I'm not reaching. And maybe that makes me sound like an asshole. You know what I mean? But like,
I don't think so. I mean, we have to take care of ourselves too.
Exactly.
And I mean, put your own mask on first, you know, there's a reason for that.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. And you know, it's been very strained since. So like, you know, we talk every now and then, but I mainly talk to my mother all the time. My mother's a freaking saint. I love my mother. But you know, so that happened, and then I was having issues with my siblings. They were kind of they're my let me just clarify right now, because I don't know if my family listens to this podcast, but my relationship with my siblings are great now. Like everything's fine, everything's good. But back then it wasn't. A couple of years ago, we weren't talking at all, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, and they were kind of taking advantage of my mother, and I had to stand up. I had to, you know, be my mother's rock on top of dealing with all this other crap.
Ugh.
And then work on top of it. School, I was back at school at the time. My cat ended up passing away, and then it was just like one
It's
thing
never
after.
just one thing. Yeah.
So I apparently was like on the deep end already, like barely keeping my head afloat. Didn't realize it. And I started writing up like a will. You know what I mean? Like I put down like emergency contacts. I gave Scott and Jeannie a key to my apartment in case anything ever happens, because I couldn't trust anybody at the time. And Scott's like, "Are you all right, dude?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" You're not acting like yourself. And I'm like, "I'm fine." And that was the biggest lie I ever told myself. And then like, I finally had a moment of clarity. I was like, this seems like I'm gonna kill myself. Like everything is just leading up to me killing myself. So I immediately found a therapist. Told him what was going on. I was in therapy twice a week for a year, and I feel great now. And then
That's awesome.
thanks. And then right towards the end of my therapy, one of my best friends committed suicide. So I was like, yeah. So
I'm sorry.
thank you. I kind of feel like I do this podcast not only for myself and getting to know my friends, but I kind of feel like I do it in memory of him too, to like let everybody know that life's not always going to be hard. You know what I mean? Like it's just, you know, you got to talk things out. You got to get things off your chest and everything like that. And, you know, connect more with people and just open up, because that's the only way you're going to heal, you know? So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Hold on for like the little things that get you through to the next day or something.
exactly. So, I mean, I'm glad to still be here. You know, I could have went south very quickly if I didn't wake up, but you know, I did. So,
Yeah, that's good. A lot of people don't, you know? So
and now I've got plans. I'm going to be making music again, hopefully sometime soon. So we'll see, but
fingers crossed for everybody.
we'll see. I gotta dust off the pipes. It's been a couple of years. So. But anyway, let's get on to let's talk about your writing a little bit. You were talking briefly about like how you were writing about polyamorous and stuff like that. Like, what kind of stuff have you been writing about?
Well, for a little while, I worked for an online magazine, which was really fun. It was called Vivid and Brave, and it was a women's magazine. It was all women writers, and we had such a great time. There were like several sections to the site, and I covered like the sex and love section for. I did a lot of polyamory writing. I covered step family stuff there, like I touched on it. But I wrote for another step family online magazine for that stuff, which sadly that site isn't even around anymore, which is too bad because that was a lot of fun too. So now mostly I just put a lot of my like photography and writing up on my one like Facebook page for my little business page. And I don't do as much published writing as I probably should, because I'd really like to be honing those skills more and getting more content out. I mostly cover the photography on there right now, but yeah, I try to, I mean, I don't really want to call it like advice, because I feel like I'm not in any position to give somebody specific advice about how to polyamory or, you know, anything like that. But just my own experiences and maybe something that I've been through, something I've done, something I've messed up with, can help somebody else to avoid doing that. So yeah, I kind of focus on that a lot.
Very cool. You ever thought about making a website, like a blog website or something?
Yeah, I used to have one, and I just, I stopped updating it, and I kind of just went to like the Facebook page a lot, but I really feel like I should get back to just linking the blog over there because it's so much easier.
Yeah, I mean, like, I did the same thing with my portfolio. It's basically like my central hub for like everything that I do, between art and video editing, and I gotta link this podcast to it eventually. But yeah, like, it sends people to my Facebook page, my Twitter, my Instagram, like everything like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Makes it a little easier.
Exactly. If you don't think you need a website, you need a website.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to work on that for sure, because I'd like to get some published works out there eventually, even if I have to self-publish. So
yeah. Cool. Very cool. And your photography, when did that start? I know you said you've been doing a lot of photography for bands and stuff, and it's kind of at a halt right now, but when did you fall in love with photography?
Probably back in college, honestly. And even high school. I took graphic arts at Baypath.
Oh, very cool.
So we had a dark room back then. We had like all the old equipment, and now it's all digital. I mean, there's like nothing like that now, but I just love
for the collectors, there are a lot of collectors that collect the like old cameras and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and stuff. So yeah.
Dude, I'd still have a dark room if I had the space for it. Are you kidding me? Like,
I found out Zach Braff, who played JD on Scrubs, and Krista Miller, who played Jordan, they have like a love for photography, and they got it from what's his name? Who played her? Brendan Fraser. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got it from him when he guest starred on the show, because that camera that he had in those episodes was actually his own camera. So
that's really cool.
So they fell in love with photography from him, and now they collect all these old cameras and like do like Polaroids and like darkroom shit and everything. So I was like, well, that's really interesting. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's how I fell in love with it, because I just loved working in the darkroom. I loved taking pictures, developing them myself, and yeah, so way back then. But I mean, I didn't really invest in it until I met John, and I'm a kind of an introvert, so putting myself out in the middle of a crowd and being like, hey, get out of my way so I can take a picture, is really hard for me. So when I go to shows, and I started going just with him, and I was like, I'll take my camera, and he's like, you gotta get in there and you gotta get all these. So like through just going to all the Fear the Masses shows and stuff, and taking pictures for the guys, and just, handing them off to them for like, if they want to use them on Facebook or whatever. I've gotten a lot more practice, and I've invested a lot more in like my equipment now, because I realized, oh, you can't just take the lens that comes with it and hope that it works. So yeah, I've learned a lot, just mostly from going to all the local shows and fooling around with the camera.
Yeah, a lot of trial and error, like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
this lens works way better than this one. And yeah, I'm not very good with any of that, like, at all. Like, I'm not like, I take pictures with my phone. I don't have like a nice digital camera or anything. I got some GoPros and some video cameras for a lot of video work I used to do until things slowed down and then the pandemic hit. But anyway, like, you know, but I don't want to say I'm an expert, you know what I mean? Like, I use Photoshop, I use Premiere and everything like that with everything I do. But I mean, there's a lot of other more knowledgeable people out there, and I'm not trying to sell myself short. If you guys need something, hit me up. I'm open for commission work. Anyway,
right?
I'm plugging way too early in this show. So, but anyway, so that's pretty cool though. I mean, like, what kind of camera do you have right now? Are you using?
Right now I have actually an older Canon Rebel. It's probably like from around the time my son was an infant, and he's 11 now. So, I mean, the thing's old and it works great. And I've just kept upgrading the pieces to it and haven't spent anything on a bigger or better camera really. So
gets the job done.
Yeah, I figure, you know, if I start making some actual money at it, I'll invest it back into a better camera.
Gotcha.
But right now I'm mostly like, I'll just contact the bands and be like, hey, I have some photos and like, here's a couple samples, and you know, if you like it, cool. So I mostly just do it to have fun at the shows and give the Fear the Masses guys some good shots. So
nice. Do you have your own watermark? Do you watermark all your photos?
I do now. Yeah, I didn't before, and then I saw a couple ended up on some band pages, and I was like, shoot, I should have, you know.
That's why you watermark your stuff, people.
Oh, definitely. I learned the hard way, but
I do too. I you know, I watermark all my paintings and everything. Like once they're done. Like, granted, you know, we're friends on Facebook. I know you're not going to steal
that Black
stuff.
Panther one is awesome.
Thank you. It's not done yet, but I'm hoping
it looks really cool.
I'm hoping to finish it tonight. So, but yeah, it's coming along really nice. But like once that's finished, like that's getting watermarked. I don't want people stealing that. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
But anyway, yeah, no, watermarks are very important, people. If you're in the digital, you know, photography field or video field, like even with the video work I've done for clients, like I would put a giant logo like over the video, like, and watermark it and send them a sample. That way it's like, you know, I'm covering my ass because, hey, you haven't paid me yet. So exactly. But you want the real thing?
It's very easy to crop out that tiny one down the corner. Not so easy when I do this.
Exactly. It's a big, obnoxious amp. Like my logo is an amp because my initials are AMP. And it's got a video camera on top of it. Actually, I got a business card right here. Let me just...
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen... Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. It's Amplified Video Productions and Designs. That's the name of my hustle side company. So, yes. But yeah, that's I don't get a lot of work these days, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, everything keeps coming back to, man, I can't wait till life is back to normal.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do, right? Let's talk about your podcast a little bit. DadHat Entertainment News and Reviews. I know you guys said that you're on a break and everything right now, but like, how did you get involved with that podcast?
So my friend Sean started it, and he's I've known him for gosh, probably almost 2 decades now. I'd think. We met through the 501st Legion, which is like a stormtrooper, like the bad guys in Star Wars.
As soon as you said that, like, I was like, this is familiar to me. And I'm like, wait a minute, Kev from my old podcast, I think he knew somebody in the 501 or...
Okay. Yeah, it's worldwide. So, I mean, there's a lot of people now. I'm not in it anymore, but I had a blast with it. It was so much fun. You know, bad guys doing good. We would go do all this charity work, and it was just such a blast. So I met him through that, and then we stayed in touch over the years. And him and a couple friends actually started doing it, and one guy had to drop out. So he was like, hey, are you any good at like researching stuff and talking about it? And I'm like, like, I'm thinking he just wants me to like write something for the show, or like, you know, do an article here or there or something. And he's like, oh no, I want you to come on and talk. And I was like, ooh, I don't know if that's
Yikes.
the thing for me. But I have so much fun with it now. Sean and Derek is the one who does the movie reviews. And Sean does video games, and then I handle TV. And it's so much fun. I'm so glad that I took a chance on it.
Nice.
Yeah, so we have a good time together.
I haven't had a lot of time to check it out, but I'm definitely gonna subscribe and check it out because it's like right up my alley for like everything that I love and pop culture and stuff. So,
well, if I can recommend one, check out the Star Wars one, because Derek's rants about the new ones are amazing and epic.
I'm sure it's going to be really, really good because not a lot of people like them. I mean, like, listen, like, I like Star Wars. I mean, like, it's like hit or miss with me. Like, I'm not like a diehard like Star Wars fan. Like, but my friends, you know, Scott is a diehard Star Wars fan. My friend Kevin is a diehard Star Wars fan. Agrippa from my old podcast, also a diehard Star Wars fan. And that seems to be the subject that would always come up in almost every single League of Extraordinary Frontmen episode, some sort of Star Wars reference. And I would just be there rolling my eyes like
here we go again.
Like, I got the reference. Can we move on? Like, but like, I would mainly focus on getting the news. You know what I mean? Like, oh, so-and-so signed on to play blah, blah, blah. Or like, this is new in comics right now, you know?
Yeah.
And, we had, like I said, show and tell, you know, we would show off stuff. What were some other fucking segments? We had guest host interviews, like just generic shit. But I mean, like, we had a lot of fun.
It's great when it's with your friends. So
exactly. And to have like structure like you guys have for your podcast is great too. So
that's all Sean. Derek and I would just babble away if Sean weren't like, all right, this is how we're going to be organized. Like, thank God for him, because
I tried doing that with my last podcast. I talked about it on the Chris episode, but my last podcast I was a part of, called the Nerd News Happy Hour, which myself and one of my friends started, and I ended up leaving for a lot of reasons. But mainly it was kind of like these people came in that he brought in, and then they slowly hijacked the show away from myself and him. But I was doing all the work. Like, I was paying for the episodes to be uploaded, and I was just like, okay, if I'm not gonna have any sort of control over this, then I'm fucking leaving. So, and the show is just like, there was structure when it started, and then there wasn't anymore, and it was just getting irritating, and I was just like, I'm done. Like, I walked away from it. I took a break from podcasting, and I left, I think, in like January or something like that, and then like I took a couple months off, and then boom, started this one in April. So has nothing to do with comic books or anything, but sometimes we talk about comic books, and I'm fully okay with that.
No, I really like the format of this. That's
you.
One of the reasons that I even sent you a message. I was like, that's like, the personal stuff is kind of fun. I mean, getting to know people a little bit.
Yeah, I fully agree. I love the NPR kind of style, like just talking and just having a good conversation with people you know or you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I've like the last couple of weeks I've gotten to know people I don't really know. You know what I mean? And I get nervous when I like, I was kind of nervous for this interview too. I was like, I really don't know her. Like, what are we gonna talk about? Like, like, I'm super introverted myself too, but like a couple drinks in me, I'm a fucking social butterfly. Like, the Aquarius in me comes out when I'm drinking. But when I'm not, like, I don't know. I'm weird like that. Like, I can be outgoing, but most of the time I'm not, like, especially when I'm in an environment that I'm not comfortable in or I've never been to before. I'm like, anxiety starts going up. My walls start going up, and I'm like, get away from me,
Yeah.
Like,
where's my Xanax? Oh God.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. I was upstairs earlier before I came down to like get set up for this, and my husband was like, well, just have like a glass of wine. And I was like, I do not want to start wine babbling on this show. I'm like, I am nervous enough as it is.
Trust me, if I was able to drink right now, because I'm still taking antibiotics for my infection, I would be drinking with you right now, because
I opted not to. I was like, no.
I would have been encouraging you to have one, because sometimes drunk babbling is the greatest conversation ever.
Oh, I don't disagree, but we'll do like a follow-up one in like
sure. I'll bring you out for a table talk session when I have another round table with some other people. We'll just bullshit about whatever, because like,
oh my gosh, the Fear the Masses one with and the other his name
Jeff.
was Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh, they were so funny. Oh my gosh.
We fucked with John so bad in that episode. To the point where he actually changed his Twitch name to Savage Drumming now. So for those listening now.
I saw that.
Yeah. I feel really bad about it, but I mean, it does kind of make sense because I mean,
he'll be okay.
He's fine. I think he just got affiliate finally, and he's already hit me up like, dude, I need emotes. Like, can you start like drawing them up? I'm like, yo, relax. Like, I'll get your emotes for you. Don't worry.
No, I love watching all those guys on Twitch. They're so much fun to mess with in the chat and everything. And yeah, Jonathan's great. John and Josh and Doug have actually come out to like my kids' birthday parties.
Very
and,
cool.
You know, I think Derek would, but he's like a little further out. So, but they're great guys. So.
Yeah, I've known those guys for years.
Oh my gosh,
Minus
yeah.
John, like John's the new one, so we kind of gang up on him a little bit.
You gotta pick on somebody, right? So.
Yeah, he's like a little brother. Like in that episode too, he had me dying. He was like, oh, head banging and stuff, and I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm like, how old are you? Like,
he's a baby. He's so young.
But definitely go back and check out that episode, everybody. There's going to be more roundtable talks coming soon where I'm going to bring back previous guests. We'll just hang out, have a good time, talk about whatever, and just probably get drunk. I don't know. But, I mean, I'd like
celebrate
to.
being off antibiotics.
Yes. Oh my God. This is my second round too. Like, it's so much worse. Like, I did it for like 2 weeks. Like, for those listening right now, like, I'm currently battling a prostate infection, which I hope that's all it is. But I've been battling this since the end of July, and I don't even know how the fuck it happened. Like, it's so crazy. And like, I did one round of heavy antibiotics for like 2 weeks. Finally saw the urologist. I thought I was going to get the ultrasound that day, and he's just, we're going to put you on another round of antibiotics. This one's going to be less harsh on your system, but you're going to be on it for 3 weeks. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, come on. And he's like, and then I need you to come back in 2 weeks for the ultrasound. I'm like, can't just do it now? Like, just get it over with.
Like, whatever's going on is going to be going. Like, can we just...
Yeah. Exactly. So like, at least have an idea. Like, do we know it's an actual prostate infection or is something else going on? Like, but I mean, luckily the last couple of days I've been feeling all right. But
that's good.
Yeah. It sucks when like it just feels like I got kicked in the dick for like a month. Like, just. I
can imagine that's not a pleasant feeling.
No,
so.
No. Sorry to get so vulgar and.
Oh, I mean, we can talk about like natural childbirth next if you want. I like whatever. And this is without the
Sorry, but I didn't mean to go off on a tangent. No. It just sucks.
No, totally. Health issues are so shitty, and like I mean, I told you, even if you had the opening last weekend, I couldn't do it because I was getting that stupid EEG done at home.
How'd that go? Everything all right?
I still don't have the results. The test was a pain. I barely slept for 3 nights, and I had all this gear all over my head and looked ridiculous.
So were they just monitoring your sleep, or was it something else?
It was, so I had epilepsy as a kid.
Okay.
And I've been getting bouts of dizziness for no reason, just sitting down, just the room starts spinning. So they're kind of concerned that it might be back, and I'm fingers crossed that it's not, and it's just some weird thing going on.
Yeah.
So
I got a friend out in Illinois who's got epilepsy like really bad, and to the point where he's already had his second brain surgery already. The first one they thought they got it, and then I want to say like a year later it came back worse. And now he's got an implant on the back of his skull now that sends a shock to when the seizure comes. It just sends like a neural shock to where the source is, and then it just stops.
Yep.
So knock on wood, he's doing a lot better now. But
well, that's good.
Yeah, he was super nervous about it and everything. So shout out to you, Kyle. Hope you're doing all right, man. So yeah,
epilepsy is no joke. Mine wasn't that bad, thankfully, when I was a kid. But yeah, it was not a good time.
No, definitely not. My buddy that passed away too, he had epilepsy for a little while too, but it turned out there was something with his sinuses or something that was pushing up against his brain. And they didn't find that out until like a year or two after they were trying to treat him for epilepsy. So they put him on like a ton of medication and everything, and he was just miserable the whole time. Like he fell down a flight of stairs having a seizure. He face planted on his workbench in his garage. Like,
oh my
it was just bad.
gosh.
And then like it was just the weirdest thing. Like none of the doctors could figure out where it was coming from. And then he goes to have something done with his nose or something to like I forget what the procedure was called, but when he saw the ear, nose, and throat doctor, he was like, your sinuses are pushing up against your brain, right? And he's like, what? Like,
Oh
so
my
he's like,
God.
so he was like, yeah, we're gonna go in and fix it for you. And then as soon as they did, his seizures completely stopped.
And they never did an MRI or anything? I mean, I know that's like,
I don't
like, how would you know, I guess,
I don't
but
know. Yeah, exactly. Like
that's crazy.
yeah, and
Wow.
they did all these tests on him, and it's like all these professionals are like, yeah, we don't know, and it's like what? Like he was going to Yale and everything.
Oh my
Like I
God.
was like, what? Like but obviously I can't ask him any questions about it. He's no longer here.
Yeah,
But,
wow, that's crazy.
yeah, it is crazy. It's just like go for a second opinion, people. Like get a second
Yeah,
opinion on
definitely.
shit. So. But anyway, so you guys are on a break with your podcast right now. When are you guys coming back?
Pretty soon. I think we had actually scheduled one for this week, but we just hadn't gotten it together like in time. Derek was on vacation with his son, and I had this going on, and my husband getting back from deployment, and kids just starting school.
Yeah.
So thankfully, the three of us being friends, we're just able to kind of hit each other up on Facebook and be like, "Hey, you feeling it?" And they're like, maybe we wait another week. So
Yeah.
pretty soon. And then Sean's really good. Like we'll record on like a Wednesday or Thursday, and he's usually getting it out by like the next few days, like after the weekend. So
cool.
Yeah.
Not like me, where I pre-record a bunch of episodes that are probably dated by the time they air because some of the subjects we talk about are like a week or two old. So
I mean, I feel like the world moves too fast to keep up with it anyway at this point. Like
unfortunately, that's just the format of the show. I don't have a lot of time to in between to edit episodes every week. I got to do a bunch all at once and just
sure,
put them out. So, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. I'd like to hear your podcast, and I'll definitely go back and check out that Star Wars one you recommended. I'm probably gonna like it.
Thanks. Yeah.
It's probably gonna give me nostalgia feelings about the league. So, which I'd like to do a reunion episode with those guys, but they're kind of like, nah. Like I know Scott would, and Scott and Jeannie would, but like Grip and Kev are. Well, Kev just bought a house, so he's got that going on, and
that'll keep you busy.
yeah, and they're like basically renovating like the whole place. Like it just needed needed a lot of TLC, but we just helped them move some furniture the other week. So, but they're almost done, thankfully. And then Grip, he's busy with work and everything. I don't think he really has much of an interest in podcast anymore. He used to have like an entire podcast network, the Metal Syndicate. So he would do the Metal Syndicast, which he would interview bands every week with his partner, his buddy Alan. And there was a bunch of other podcasts on that network, including ours. And now he's just like, I'm painting action figures now for a living. So like, he basically builds his own GI Joes and he paints them, and they're pretty fucking amazing. So he still has my Spawn figure. I want my fucking Spawn figure back, please. Thank you. Sorry.
No, that sounds like
2 years, Grip. Where's my Spawn figure?
That's my husband's with War Machine. Like they like paint and assemble and like help each other out with like War Machine figures and stuff. So
Nice.
one of them will be like, "Hey, did you finish my so and so yet?" And I'm over there in the corner like, I can paint a little bit. So
you talk about like you do TV show reviews. Like what kind of TV shows do you review?
The first one I did was Penny Dreadful. So it really varies. I kind of just go on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime, and I'm like, what am I in the mood to binge this week? Because we try to keep it current. Like, I mean, I'd love to do like a nostalgia one of like The Office or How I Met Your Mother or something. We might do that sometime, but we try to keep it at least within like the last few years. So I'll just go kind of check out what's trending. I've found a couple duds that way and a couple great ones. I watched this one that seemed really interesting from the trailer called Unorthodox, and it's just a 4-part series about a woman in Orthodox Judaism. And it's a really fascinating story, and it's not something that I would have just watched on my own. So, just kind of, it really varies week to week, just whatever's looking good to binge.
You see The Boys season 2 yet?
I haven't made it through season 1. It was I like it. Okay. But here's the thing. Like, it's really some of the scenes are like, I don't normally do like the trigger warning stuff because I'm like, okay, like, you know, sometimes you just gotta face your shit and like deal with it. But
it's a fucked up series, yes.
Some of the scenes are very rapey, and like, if you have any kind of issue with that, it's a little difficult to get through a few of those episodes. Like,
so a lot of those characters in season 1 get their comeuppance, so you don't have to
that's good to know.
So you don't have to worry, especially one of the characters. Like, I'm on season 2 right now, and like this one character is like on the mends to like rectify everything and like be a good person. But like that whole like team, like if you're unfamiliar with The Boys is based off of a comic book series by the guy that created The Boys. Hates superheroes, absolutely hates superheroes, and he wanted to make a comic book showing like the celebrity side of like superheroes, like how much of a bunch of dicks they really are in real life. And
well, he did a good job.
Yeah, so and it's definitely a great book, and the main character of the comic book actually looks like Simon Pegg. That's why Simon Pegg is in season 1 of the show. So, but he was too old to play the main protagonist in the TV show.
Oh, okay.
So,
I love Simon Pegg. So
yeah, I love Simon Pegg
cool.
too. Yeah. But it's such a great show. Like, if you can get past like all the goriness and the it
is good. It's I'm not saying it's not well written, because it definitely is.
And it was tough for me too at times. Don't get me wrong. It was definitely tough. I'm like, oh my God, like, why am I watching this? Why am I still watching this? And yeah.
So half the stuff that I review is because I, stayed up late in the living room, like doing some writing or schoolwork on my computer, came downstairs to John, passed out on the bed, falling asleep to some random thing on Netflix. And it'll be stuff like that. Like, I'll just walk in on some horrific scene where I'm like, what are you watching? And he's like, I'm asleep. What? So I've discovered a lot of good shows that way, and a lot of, kind of weird shows. But yeah, I'm sure I'll catch some more of it, because John definitely enjoys it. So we'll probably watch that. And then Kyle's super into comics and stuff. He's got a bunch of like signed comic books and first editions and everything hanging upstairs. So
very cool. Well, we should probably wrap this up. We're about an hour right now. But what do you got? What do you got for future plans? You got the podcast obviously coming back soon. Anything else down the pipeline?
I mean, nothing super new, just trying to get some more writing out there. I've been working on a book forever about my experiences with polyamory, because I feel like a lot of the books out there right now are helpful, but they're very, they don't get very specific about a lot of the issues that you run into. So I felt like maybe that was lacking. So I'm working on that.
Cool. Is there anything you want to plug where people can find you and stuff?
Well, the DadHat Entertainment News and Reviews is on, we're on a bunch of platforms, but Spotify is probably like the easiest and best to find us on. And then, gosh, I mean, I guess my Facebook page would be the best place to like find all my stuff.
I'll link everything in the description below, so that way people can find you.
I'll send that over to you.
As for me, thanks for watching, everybody. If you're watching on YouTube, hi, how are you? Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon to get notified every time we drop a new video. We're also available on Spotify, on Apple, on Google Podcasts, and wherever you guys get your podcasts from. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Roads We've Traveled Podcast to stay up to date with everything going on with the podcast. You'll probably see me lose my mind a couple times, or you might see me share some of my streams. Who knows? Email us at roadswe'vetraveledpodcast@gmail.com. Get me your questions, your comments, your stories. If you guys got questions for previous guests that you would like answered, I would happily save them for roundtable talks, because that's going to be the plan, bringing back past guests and catching up with them. So definitely get those emails in. Check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/JRBuckleGaming. Like we were talking about earlier, I've been working on my Black Panther piece. I'm going to be working on that tonight. We played some Cards Against Humanity last night online, which was, it got a little out of control. I had to keep it in line last night. Like, some of my friends that were playing, like Doug was playing with us last night, and I was like a couple hours into it, I'm like, all right, like we gotta stop. Like I gotta call it a night. Like I've had enough. Like but it gets a little out of control. But it was fun.
I gotta catch one of those.
So check us out at JR Buckle Gaming on Twitch. And if you guys are looking for commission work, whether it's art or video work, logo designs, emotes, I know John's in search for emotes right now. Hit me up for commission work, www.alanmpelletierjr.com. I'd be happy to work with you in whatever spare time I have. Jessie, this was awesome. Thank you for reaching out and being a part of my podcast. I'd love to have you back sometime.
Thanks. This was great.
Awesome. Talk to you soon. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.